What is alive for you, good people? This is Kevin Orris, and this is a live stream podcast I'll be doing with my dear brothers, Mr. Khiel Anker and Christopher Kent. We're going to be discussing all things men's work, making men great again, supporting men, loving men, empowering men, iron sharpening iron, and reclaiming sovereignty, which is a scarce resource in our wild, chaotic world today. We'll just wait a
What's up,
second.
everybody?
What's up? We'll get Mr. Anker in here. Got the beautiful Costa Rica in the background. You love to see it.
hmm Ocean's back there too.
Let's go. Can
Ocean.
you see the ocean from your spot?
Yeah, yeah, down here on the coast in Dominican
Amazing.
Island.
All right, there he is. Can you hear us?
Ah, it was better last time. My headphones were working. Now they're not.
You can't hear
Oh,
Let
us?
me check, check, check. Can you hear me?
we can hear
Yeah,
you.
we can hear you. Can you hear us?
Oh, there we go. Just a turn it off, turn it on kind of thing. I still can't see you guys, but that's fine. I'll join in on desktop and we'll just be weird about it.
Let's get
We stop.
wild and weird.
Yeah, boy.
Fuck yeah. Well, this is our first. Well, no, I think didn't we do an Instagram live together, or did it not work? I
You
don't
and
know.
I did.
Yeah, that's right. So this is our first triple podcast, which you love to see. Been a long time coming. Why don't you guys intro yourselves to the new peeps? Because I think a lot of people are still like, who are these bearded, handsome men? Who are these hippies? What are they talking about?
Hold on.
Give me the nutshell of both of y'all for the people joining.
You go first, Christopher. I'm going to share the link out to all the places that seem to be
Ooh,
important.
brother. Yeah, what's up, everybody? I'm gonna take it back to the summit of greatness. Lewis
Let's go.
House Summit of Greatness. This is where I met Kevin here, and he was working at the Bulletproof Coffee with the Misfits, his crew, and we dropped in about just the path that we were walking, and yeah, my path has really been one of, it's interesting. It's like it's there's two sides to the coin. I was studying accounting in college, and I was like, why am I studying accounting? There was this voice in my head that I realized wasn't my own voice, and I'm like, I'm not gonna give all of my life force energy to this idea of, okay, doing what society or what I think my parents want me to do or what I think whoever wants me to do. I'm gonna listen to my heart. And so there was some suffering involved in a sense of like going to school and doing what somebody else taught me. But then I got to college, and the way that I was oriented is like I want to live my vocation, my life path. I want to give everything to whatever I'm most passionate about and most love. And so that led to a career in becoming an actor and also studying philosophy. And then that led me to a book called Autobiography of a Yogi by Yogananda, and that's why I really got into like Christ consciousness and then plant medicine and mushrooms and a lot of different like Course in Miracles and these kind of alternative modalities that are becoming more and more well known. But at the heart of it is like my one-on-one work is turning the self-development inside out and being like, actually, what if there's nothing to fix and that we are whole and complete as we are? And then tuning into where that actually lives, which can be hard because society teaches us, no, you're good based on what you do, how much money you provide, whatever. And actually, the truth is, in my experience, is the reverse of that. The more I relax into, oh, I'm already whole and complete, and not just as like like so nervous as like I'm whole and complete, I'm whole and complete, I'm whole and complete. And I was like, actually, there's 100 different modalities to realize where and who you already are. And I always tell people, I'm like, don't take my word for anything I'm saying. Like, see for yourself, have the experience, and uh, you can take it to the bank of God, and it pays divine dividends. But don't take my word for it. Have fun, like play and joy, and that's a lot of the way that I entered into Kyle's life is by he's like, thanks for clowning yourself into my life, and it's like, yeah, 'cause so much of the self-development stuff, it just gets way too serious, and I'm like that fly flying up against a window when the other window pane right next door is wide open, but that limited perspective of survival and trying to get out doesn't allow me to see that it's already open. And so, like, you know, am I fully enlightened? I'm not going to say that I am. I'm also not going to say that I'm not. And so it just becomes this goofy kind of paradox. But my passion is helping people realize that they're already free.
Let's go.
So yeah, I could just continue to talk, but I'll leave it at that. And it looks like Kyle's maybe frozen.
Yeah, Kyle, can you hear us? It was too good to be true. Well, Kyle may be able to rejoin. I'm just going to remove him and reset it, and then we can re-invite him. But yeah, I mean, it's such a fascinating, beautiful concept. It's very reminiscent of the Matrix and Neo, where he's like, what are you saying? I can dodge bullets? And he's like, I'm saying when you're ready, you won't need to. Because a lot of people, it's like, oh, I need to get freedom. Like, I need to get free. It's like, you're already free. You have to remember and embody it and actually like live into it practically and deeply internally. It's not something you can get outside of yourself because you already have it. It's one of my favorite Alan Watts riffs is like, it's like, you want to be free or you want to be XYZ. It's like, why can't you do it? Well, my good boy, is because you already have it. You can't get something you already have. It makes no sense. And I think that's a big lesson for a lot of men out there. But Mr. Anker is back. Why don't you intro yourself?
We can hear you and we can see you.
Can you
I'm
hear us?
coming. Yeah, I'm coming. Hold on. Bam. I'm back.
Let's go.
All right. Can I do my intro?
Yeah.
Por favor.
All right, gentlemen. Kyle Anker here, coming in live from the Valley of Mount Chiripo, where I reside with brother Christopher Kent here. You heard a little bit about how he and I met. He wormed his way into my life when I was overly stoic and serious. He's like, will you come work out with me? And I'm like, who is this joker? And then we start working out and he's recording everything and like being ridiculous. And next thing I know, we're wearing like Dragon Ball shirts and like screaming and making ridiculous reels, which of course get more views than anything else I've ever done. Yeah, way to go, internet. But I'm from New England, grew up simple, lower middle class, blue collar family first, like many of us in these circles, us weirdos, to just leave the state, go to college, leave the country, see the world, get a sense of like what the hell is even going on here? Like, who am I? What am I here to do? And I figured that much out. I'm here to help men be forged into the guardians of life and protectors of the sacred that we have lost. And what we're here doing, the three of us, what I like to call is a men's mystery school. It's part rite of passage, part men's work, and also part reconnecting to our ancestry and the power of spirit that lies dormant in so many of us Westerners. And it's important to note that because a lot of the lineage of Westerners are these indomitable people that would not suffer this sort of tyranny and oppression that we're experiencing in the world today. Like, if we Westerners wake up to that power in our, it's game over, and it's happening, right? And so we're here doing that part. And yeah, we're gonna talk a little bit about like the fellowship and our offerings too. But as far as what I specifically do, like I'm trained in like the Western neo-shamanic world of medicine, like MDMA, psychotherapy, and like the mushroom altar kind of stuff. And I hit a wall with that eventually, realizing that they were missing something really important. They were missing the necessity of a trained, skilled, framework shamanic ethic, which is even important with the most predictable and reliable sorts of medicine work, like with MDMA. Not as safe as people think. And so I'm here to harmonize and syncretize and integrate what we understand and need from the West and what we need from our ancestors in the past to create the magic of masculinity, of medicine, of ceremony and rite of passage as applicable to this day and age. I'm also a certified IFS practitioner, Reiki master, rune divination, like all this stuff. Like, that's cool. It doesn't matter. It's what we're here to do, and that's what we're here to tell you about.
Yo, love to see it, man. And what you just said is really powerful because there's all these memes on Twitter, and I just love it, where it's like, our ancestors, if you're from America, which, we're all immigrants, but let's say the ancestors of this nation, 4% tax on tea from England. Oh, no, fuck, 4% tax? Game over. Get your musket, grab a beer. We're throwing the tea into the Boston Harbor, and we're overthrowing the British Empire. Today,
where did that go?
40% tax on all your income, football games, Uber Eats.
Get the fuck out.
Yeah, I'm good with this. Trump, let's bomb the Middle East. Let's do all this crazy shit. 1776 was a very different time for masculinity than 2026.
So we're starting our own country, everyone.
Maybe. Sovereign city-states are still a thing.
To be fair, though, we're in a very different situation than they were in. Because back then, information could only travel as fast as a horse or a ship. So information is instantaneous now, which changes the whole game, specifically for men, because men, in my experience, are logical beings of order. So we're operating under rational principles. We like to use our brain. We love to solve problems, which, ladies, if you want to endear a man to you, ask him to help you with a problem. But as an aside, we're solving very different problems today. And the whole world is globally connected. We're like, an armed revolution is obviously not going to work. And nor should that be the first option. I'm not even saying that the Revolutionary War was a good thing, although it had some good outcomes, let's say, arbitrarily. But yeah, we can go around the horn with this. Like, what are you seeing in terms of modern men, and what are they struggling with, given all these changes we've just described, remembering the mythic masculine, remembering rites of passage, studying a lot of the ancient cults and groups and rituals that men have practiced all over the world for thousands of years. What are the differences and similarities, and what's going on with modern men?
I'm going to lead us off with that, Kyle, and then you could speak on it too. And it's the general thing that I see with all humans, but specifically more so with men. And I was reminded of it when you were talking about being in right relationship with, like, what it is that we are called forth to do in whatever life situation that we're born into. And it reminds me of Lord Shani, the ruler of cosmic order, ruled by the planet Saturn. And I ascribe to this idea called a daimon. So it's this greater life force energy that wants to speak through your soul. And it can only be spoken through your soul. And I'll tell you what, I don't know about past lives or future lives, but I know that there's something inside me that if I don't get it done and I don't express it and share it, I'm pretty sure I'm just going to be right where I am now, moment after moment, lifetime after lifetime, in this place where I'm like, no, this is what needs to come through. And what I see with men is the denial of that. And this pacificity of settling, or well, I got to pay the bills, or this is what the wife wants, or this is what society wants from me. And there's this denial of, no, there's something greater inside of you, and it's knocking at your door. And maybe the reason for the depression or the numbing out is because you're ignoring the call of what your soul wants to express through you, and it can only be expressed uniquely through you. So to bring it back to what I said at the beginning, this is the paradox, right? It's like, yeah, whole and complete and perfect as you are, and the world is like, hey, when are you gonna actually say yes? When are you gonna actually say yes? And that takes what it takes. It takes the amount of suffering it takes, but it does take one moment of saying, actually, no, I'm done and I'm ready. I'm ready for something greater. I'm ready to say yes to this. And that continual commitment, moment by moment, to be like, this is what I'm doing. This is what it's about, no matter what presents itself to me. So that no matter what firm energy, that's like, fuck that 4% tax or fuck the whatever it is. And it's like, this is what I stand for. And you know what? I'm willing to die for it. And I'm going to end with this last thing. Big realization that I had when I really went all in on myself is when I had this idea. I'm like, oh, worst case scenario, I die doing what I love and what I believe in, and I starve to death. But it was from a beautiful place. I'm like, I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, and then it's actually been the opposite of that. I'm not starving. There's an abundance of resources and relationships and like beautiful things. Now it's like saying no to, all right, now that all of these things are here, it's like, how do I stay aligned? Because there's still people that are suffering. There's still men that are like reaching out and not knowing what to do. I don't know what to do a lot of the time, but I fucking still do it. I still do it and I still go for it. So that was a quite a mouthful, but that's what came up for me when I heard you ask that.
Let's go. Love to see it.
Mm.
The worst case scenario is you die, you starve, like the ultimate scarcity, right? Because this is the loop. We talked about this in our men's group that we run together. Oh, the fear is, okay, I want to make music. I want to be an artist. I want to be an actor. I want to start a AI startup. So hot right now. I can't do that. What if I don't make money? So I need to do the thing I'm doing to pay the bills. Okay, now that you've paid the bills, now what? Well, now I have to keep paying them. So I'm going to keep doing that. And it's like, wait, but why are you afraid to do what you love and what you know you're called to do? Well, because if I don't do that, I'll be out on the street and I'll starve to death, right? Like if you extrapolate the scarcity and the fear all the way out, what are you afraid of? Now, then you go deeper. And that's what I see with a lot of modern men. They're not afraid of starving, like on the street with no shelter or food. There's soup kitchens. You'll get support. Someone will help you out and you'll get a meal, even if you have to stay with your parents, sleep on the couch at your friend's house. That's actually not the fear. It's the fear of being unworthy of love or the fear of rejection.
Mm-hmm.
That's actually at the root of a lot of it. Fear of failure. Because what is failure to a man? Many men, it's their greatest fear. I've coached multimillionaires that, like, on paper, like, damn, this guy's made it. Even I felt myself getting like, like, oh, fuck, like comparing myself to them or whatever. Meanwhile, in a deep session or in a moment of honesty, what are they most afraid of? Failure. Deathly afraid of it. Even though they have success. How do you figure that out? Who'da thunk it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, it's the unworthy thing, and then the abandonment too. Is like, oh no, I'll be outcasted, or I'm not gonna have any love. I'm not gonna be loved. It's like, yeah, but at what expense? At the expense of being fake, not being authentic, not keeping it real. And so it's a courageous act to follow one's heart.
That's the thing. That's what I see in the work I've done is many men are afraid to go after the thing that they feel that their heart is called to, right? Like so much of the men's work out there and the men's coaches, it's like, let's figure out your purpose. What are you here to do? And that's like, you know, jumping over, getting ahead of yourself because these guys don't even know who they really are, right? So they haven't even been initiated into understanding who they are, where they're from, like what it is to be a man, because most of them are still adult boys which is what the patriarchy is. It's not patriarchy. And like, Robert Bly terms, it'd be a puerarchy. You want to make it a little more accessible. It's a sociopatharchy or patriarchy. We could talk more about psychopatharchy. We can talk more about that later. But what I'm noticing is that in this world where the men are programmed to receive their worth by being a provider of resources and money, that becomes their purpose. That becomes the whole line towards success. This is why when I was young and I was guideless, mentorless, like my father was around, but he wasn't really a father. He was as absent as any other father, which is also one of the reasons why men are so lost. I'm like, okay, well, what do? I want more than what we have. I'll study technology and IT because I think that'll be successful. That'll make me money. What I really wanted to do in my heart was to study psychology. And oh, here I am now on the frontier of human psychology. I got there. And it's because I ended up finding a mentor, someone to teach me, someone to help me make that break with the boy psychological bonds to the mother and the father, which most men are so close to their moms. Their moms don't want to kick them out because it is their visceral prerogative to keep them close until the men take them away. But there are no men taking them away. We're fatherless and we're elderless and we're here to become the new elders. And so I see so much fear, especially in the men who are starting to wake up and they realize there's something more. They see the lies, the apocalypse is clear, and they're terrified because they've got two choices: to keep doing what they're doing, understanding it's all been a sham, or to change. And understanding what to do if you take that second choice is confusing and perplexing because they don't know where to go. Who do they even talk to? It's not installed in our society. And so it's safer and easier to just stay where you are and maybe take some medications or get therapy or sit down and drink beer and watch football and numb out and get depressed and anxious. But that's why we do what we do, because we have, by some grace of God, found our way and are still finding our way. But you got to go to the root first. You got to figure out, at your core, who you are, what you stand for, where you come from, and you can't do that alone. And once you get a moat of that understanding and start digging into that, and then going into transformational work with psychedelics, plant medicines, all the transformational work with this foundational understanding, then it's worthwhile. Then it's useful, and then you can find your way toward your purpose. But otherwise, the purpose is just derived from the false foundation of your purpose is to make a lot of money and have a family and buy a big car and a big house. It's just it's just gonna be the same thing over and over and over. So that's what I'm seeing. It's that fear of really going into the heart of understanding what you're here to do and how to do it.
Let's go. Don't shout a brother down when he's preaching. Let's go. I mean, for all the people watching, if you're watching this later on another channel, it'll be reshared. Or even a man we know, right? Who's well, that's all well and good for you guys. You guys figured it out and you're living and traveling and doing all this cool shit. I can't do that because blank, right? And then the story comes up. This also came up in the men's circle. A ton of men, myself included, we all have our version, right? For me, it was okay, I hate math and I want to make a lot of money. What am I good at? Okay, I'm good at talking. I'll just be a lawyer. So I started here at UT Austin as political science. And I was I'm going to go into law and be law and order top, defense or prosecutor, attorney, blah, blah, blah. Christopher is going to be an accountant. Kyle was going to be an IT guy, a technologist. Mainly because that's what we were told to do, right? It makes a lot of money, it has prestige. You only have a few options. If you're a university educated man, you can be a lawyer, a doctor, or a technologist, a scientist. It's all or an engineer, right? We started the same place that every man has to start, which is what the fuck's going on? And the big questions: who am I? Where am I going? And who's coming with me? Those are the big questions. And I love, Kyle, how you framed it, because what am I going to do? What's your purpose? Let's find your purpose. Yes, that is very powerful and a very important question to ask, but who am I is actually antecedent to that. That must come first. Self-knowledge is the only way you're going to find your purpose. Shocker, spoiler alert, you don't find it, you discover it. It's innate. You don't have to find it outside yourself or go to a conference or whatever. Now, some of that stuff will help, like where we met Christopher, Tony Robbins and Lewis Howes and Brendan Burchard are on stage hyping you up. You have a purpose, and yeah, you know, it's like that stuff's awesome. I was addicted to that for a long time. A lot of people get value from that. I'm not saying don't do it. And I've never found my purpose listening to like a speaker on stage or going to a webinar, workshop, or retreat.
Nope.
Sitting alone in nature, listening to the sound of a stream and birdsong. Now we're getting a little warmer.
Mm-hmm. Okay. There we go.
Okay. Yeah, this who am I question is so near and dear because I mean I find it literally impossible to actually put it into words, but at the root of like what I'm the sentiment that I'm hearing Kyle speak to at the root of it is this who and what you are. And again, don't take my word for it. See for yourself. That's the ironic thing about it is absolutely unlimited freedom, love, joy, peace. And would you rather live from the place of what you actually are and then do what naturally comes as an extension of that, or try to figure it out in something else or prove? So it reminds me of the story The Alchemist. I'm sure you both are familiar. It's like I got to go on this big adventure only to realize that the treasure that I had was sitting right below me before I started the journey. And so it's like, well, okay, why go on any journey or why work on oneself or why go to a speaker event or our immersion or join the fellowship? It's like, well, for the joy of it, actually. It's like for the joy of it, which doesn't exclude the fact that there's a lot of stuff in our past, but probably in the people who are watching past that it's like I'm motivated by two things. One, the beautiful rainbow that is, and that which I'm walking towards, to use a metaphor. But also, when I look behind me, there's a fire. There's a fire. And so it's like, yeah, I'm running away from something when I'm honest with myself, and I'm running towards something. And I know that that something is already what is here, but in the world I live in and the number of things that you had already mentioned, Kevin, is not everybody knows that, and maybe a part of me doesn't even know it. So I'm in here figuring out with other bros. It's like I can't do this alone, and one person's freedom is everyone's freedom, and one person's bondage or suffering is everyone's. Because as far as I can see, the difference between you and me is totally imaginary. And I guess I'm starting to get into a little poetic flow with this, so I'll drop it there.
Ah, Christopher, that's why I love having you around because you bring the non-dual goose perspective that I appreciate and don't understand at all. Yeah, I mean, what inspires me is freedom and liberation, like just going out there into unknown with the clarity that like the world is under deep tyrannical oppression. And yes, it's because these people are uninitiated and unhealed and barbaric and they could use some love too. But to what point do we suffer that until we do something about it, right? I think about that a lot. So like I sally into these spaces with like a fork of truth in one hand, poking the bear like a clown, and like a bunch of tarot cards and runes in the other, be like, let's figure out what's happening right now. Let's get to the truth of it, right? And so I'm here to liberate them by helping them understand who they are and what to do about that and how to organize themselves as the divine masculine structure of order in the systems where they get to be, you know.
I mean, you're
That's how
both
I
like I'm literally hearing the Bodhisattva vow like in my head. Like the Dharma is unknowable. I vow to know it. You know, beings exist in suffering and bondage. I vow to free them all and free my by freeing myself. It's like that's the deeper level shit. Because again, like who do men look up to? This is also a great topic of discussion. I mean, I look up to so many men, many of them dead, like amazing philosophers and wise men from past ages. If I had to just pick three off the top of my head, Carl Jung, Terence McKenna, and Socrates are the first three that come to mind, where it's like those are the goats, greatest of all time. They peered deeply into reality along the lines of what we're talking about in the masculine way, which penetrates the depths of insight, practice, and natural law, which has always been something men are interested in. and it's sacred. You know, that's kind of the magician or the king. It's a wise path. And I look up to a lot of warriors, great athletes, great entrepreneurs that are just fucking warriors. Who men look up to in our time tells you everything about the state of the masculine. And who are the men that like get the most like airtime in terms of the propaganda, news media garbage that most people are subjected to? There's a whole cult of men that worship Donald Trump. Talk about an unhealed boy, like armchair tyrant. Like, fuck, insane. Look at celebrities. Look at musicians. These like they're clowns. Like not in the good way, not the sacred clown or Heyoka or trickster. They're full retard to the point
Full
where
retard.
men look up to that, and it's like that's what a man can be. Maybe I should be like him, because this is an important thing about men's work. Women get initiated by their body and nature. They bleed, they have children. Obviously women's work is
Menopause.
important, where women need wise women and teachers, and women gather and they talk and they heal together. Men can't do it alone, literally. So a lot of men watching this, if you don't have a group of men around you, you don't have a mentor, an older brother, an uncle, father figure, like not only will you not like advance your position, you may make a lot of money and have success lone wolfing it. That's been sold to us again and again, right? Go lone wolf, do it yourself. You already know in your heart of hearts that you need help, not because you're weak, but because bands of brothers, groups of hunters, warriors together has always been the way men do it. The lone wolf starves, right? Just happens.
Mm. You know, I will rebut that a little bit. I will say that that is a bit of a weakness, especially if you're aware of it. If you're not like, okay, you're doing your thing, but once you become aware that that's where you are and you're lone wolfing and there could be something more, it's like that is a weakness, right? And we need that. We need the help. We need the mentors. We need the guides, the second fathers to move us through. And if you know, if you are listening and you know that, okay, that makes sense. Like, I got that. I'm aware of that. How do I do that? Like, go for it. Because if not, that awareness is going to gnaw at you for the rest of your life. And you will not be able to settle into the place where you can actually make a difference at the time when we need it the most. Like, you will not be fulfilling your destiny here, right? And if it doesn't make sense, that's fine. You know, some people aren't really here. They're not here to wake up to that and to do something about it. But that's what we're here to do, is to help people who are aware of that understand what to do with it.
And the first step to it is being honest. The first step to it is being honest with oneself. And then the second step is like, okay, I need help. I don't know what to do. I'm being ruled by a plaguing sensation that I'm not doing it the right way or that I'm not good enough. And then, and this is for me, it's like follow your heart. Like who do you trust? Who's in your, maybe it is Kyle or Kevin or me. And that first step is just like, this is the reality of what it is. And this is where I'm at. And a lot of the time before I start to get in there with someone, it's like, okay, let's do something about it. It's like, let's just be with that. Okay, this is like, let's actually be with the emotions instead of trying to do something to there's this sinking ship and there's all of these holes and you're going around and you're plugging all the holes and plugging them and plugging them and plugging them. If you come to me, I'm not going to be like, yeah, okay, and here's another hole and there's another hole and let's plug it. It's like, let's sit down because there's a giant hole underneath where all the water is actually coming in from, and only when you sit with it, like you were saying at the beginning, Kevin, if I'm digging a hole and I'm just like, I've had enough, I'm going to dig more. How useful is that going to be? And the thing that I forget and I take for granted of a lot of the time circling with you guys and the guys in the fellowship and in our men's circles is someone will come to one of these men's circles and they're like, I didn't know I could actually feel my feelings and talk about my feelings. Period. Like right there. Oh, I'm feeling sadness. Oh, I'm feeling angry. And then to feel anger and to know that yes, it's potentially dangerous, but like that was a big thing for me, is like I'm afraid to feel my anger because I'm gonna hurt myself, or I'm gonna hurt someone else. But actually there's a safe way inside myself where I can be incredibly angry and be with it, but that doesn't mean that somebody's gonna get hurt. I gotta feel that instead of bottling it up and then bottling it up and bottling it up again and again and again and again and again and not telling anybody about it. And that's what we do. What we do in the men's circles is we actually are real with what we're feeling, whether it's great love and peace, or anger, and ways to process and be with that anger, and to be the peaceful warrior, and to be the raging warrior, but in a way where it's like, I respect you, bro. I can't tell you how many times Kyle and I we have charges for each other because we're doing. I've never gotten deeper and been more pissed off by another human being other than um, uh, in intimate relationships than with this brother here. And we're like, hey man, I see you. Okay, let's work through it. I respect you. I love you. Let's continue to walk the path. I don't know any way that we would have gotten here if not just like, okay, let's face it and let's be with it.
It's beautiful.
Be with it. Yeah.
Like men don't realize, like one level of men's work is like, yeah, gather with the men in confidentiality and share about what's really going on, and a lot of that's emotional. And a lot of people are like, okay, but that makes you weak, that's feminine, or that's whatever. It's like, yes, just doing that alone, yeah, you're gonna loop, you're gonna get stuck. But you have to do it. Like, it is one of the first steps. And I mean, I'll never forget the first time I stepped into a circle of men. Back in the day, I was blessed to be with Sacred Sons. Back in the day, I worked with Elliot Holes, so I was part of other men's groups. And this was like, men's work wasn't
Refill my
hot yet.
water.
It was like years ago. Um, and it rocked me. I was just like, just getting witnessed and like being pissed off, or being sad and crying, or like being confused and weak, and just other men witnessing me, not judging and even supporting. It just like, all the energy of it, the fear it just pops off like water off a duck's back. Like, because all that stuff just festers in silence and loneliness. As soon as it's witnessed by the tribe, it's gone. And this is a beautiful thing. I forget, it's in Gabon, not the Aboga tribe, but there's a bunch of African tribes where if someone's suffering like severe mental or emotional crisis, they don't sit there and like try to force them to, they just come in front of the whole village, and the whole village just witnesses them and either sings to them or tells stories, listens to them, and they're good because they're back in connection with their network organically. All the people, and I'm not saying it's trivial or easy. Like, it's simple on one level. It's not easy. And I know a lot of people are really suffering in silence. They're depressed, they're anxious, they're addicted, they're overwhelmed. Now, what they don't have is a support network. And this is always what I tell male clients. It's why we founded the Commons. It's why we founded the Village. It's why we do men's work. You need a village. You need other men, period. Back to the lone wolf thing. Shout out to Philip Folsom. He's who I got this from. Like, he literally works and studies with wolves. Amazing men's work facilitator and elder. Wolves don't lone wolf. Lone wolves are skinny scavengers. They literally have to wait for the other packs to leave the scraps of a kill, and they sneak in and eat like the shit. Like, that's what a lone wolf is actually like in nature. Meanwhile, Hollywood, and it's really interesting, like, we can go into the theories behind why this is. Why has Hollywood / a lot of the like false masculine or whatever sold us the lone wolf archetype as if it's something to be proud of? It's really weird when you go down that rabbit hole, because unconsciously to this day, I'm not even saying, oh, we figured it out. It's my default. I'm like, I'll just figure it out myself. I'll just do it alone. It's like, yeah, some things you can only do alone, right? Of course. And being alone isn't bad. You're all one. Like, being with yourself deeply in silence and solitude intentionally is incredibly powerful. Meanwhile, your daily life, not having a tribe, not having a village, not having a men's group, You are gimping yourself. You're playing on handicap mode in life, literally.
Hmm. Yeah, let me add to that. Let me add to that. So there is truth to the fact that circling with men, especially when it's new for a man, is inviting him in to develop the emotional intelligence of the inner feminine, of that yin within the yang, right? And it's interesting because according to Robert Bly, again, who authored Iron John and started the Mankind Project decades ago and is largely responsible for like the current wave of men's work, he would say that the swings that masculinity and femininity have gone through. We're currently at a place where men have overly prostrated themselves to the feminine and they're overly feminine, but it's not in the way that serves themselves and other men. It's like coming from this uninitiated little mama's boy, little bully that's just like, oh God, I know that I'm responsible for all the hurt that women have carried, and I'm carrying it in my genes and my genetics, and let me just bow down before all of these feminine goddesses and priestesses, even though when they're wrongly embodying Kali and just meting out destruction everywhere they fucking go. That's weak. That's bullshit. And those guys, those betas, they're not doing men's work. They're not in men's circles. Here's why I mention this. If you want to be sitting around the circle one day, like King Arthur and his knights in those 13 seats, or in a long hall with your Scandinavian brothers and the Druids and the Vikings and the Seers, you learn how to do that by getting into a men's circle, learning how to articulate your feelings, learning how to express your charge clearly and accurately with other men. Those two things are polar sides of communication, and they engender so much trust between men because they learn to trust that you will tell them the truth. They learn who you are when you share what pain that you're carrying, and they learn that they're not going to get away with crossing you or betraying you because you're going to tell them the things they did that pissed you off, not hold those charges and end up resenting them and then manipulating and deceiving them because you're still a little beta spiritual feminine boy, right? You practice that enough, and then before you know it, these men that you've been circling with for years, you're not going to need to go through the formats and the technology of like, okay, now it's the lover round, the warrior round, magician, the king round. You end up settling neatly, squarely, and naturally into counsel because you know how to communicate with each other. The topics drop in, you weave naturally, and all of a sudden it's all magic and expression and truth, and you're solving problems in your life and the circle and for your community. But you can't do that unless you do the work first. There's lots of men I met that are in seats of power and very powerful communities. And when I realized that they don't know what that's like, or they flat out like to make fun or poke at the fact that I do men's work, I'm like, oh, well, here's someone who's dangerous in the role that he's in. He doesn't know how to communicate to other men, which means he doesn't know how to communicate to women or anybody else, much less somebody else in power, right? And so this is the bedrock. That's the start. And that's the core of all the work that we do.
Let's
Yeah,
go.
bro. What I'm really hearing underneath the whole like beta or somebody that's afraid basically to say what their truth is people pleasing. It's people pleasing.
Mm-hmm.
And one of my teachers, you guys, well, I know you know, have Jesse Elders, like nothing to prove, nothing to hide. Nothing to prove, nothing to hide. The commitment to keeping it real. It reminds me of I was in a conversation with somebody a year ago, and I was talking about like no. I hear no all the time. Having been an actor and going to audition after audition, being a coach, someone can't work with me or for whatever reason. It's like it's not about me. I mean, it is in some sense. It's like, okay, what do I need to refine? What's not working? What is working? But the idea that someone's gonna tell me no and then I'm gonna stop doing what I'm doing or living my purpose, it looks like my purpose is pretty flimsy if I'm giving that power away in any relationship too. This is not just professional. And when I was talking to this person, I'm like, yeah, no it doesn't really affect me. It's just another day. Okay, cool. I heard no 7 times. So what? No for now. The yes is in the no. And sometimes it's just like, okay, no, no. How about now? New moment. How about now? Oh no. Oh, okay. All right, fine. And this person, they asked me, they're like, wow, I would really like to work on that. The people pleasing thing is alive for me. Can you help me with that? You know what I said to this person? No.
It's
They're like, oh, that doesn't feel good. That kind of hurt.
fuck
Well,
yeah.
you see what I'm doing here, right? And they're like, oh, let's gamify it. Let's have fun. No. Okay, how do you feel? Yes. A no to you is a yes. A no to you or a no to me is a yes to everything else,
Especially yourself.
So
especially yourself.
we have
What is
a
Boundaries,
more
boundaries,
valuable?
boundaries.
What's more valuable than your own peace? What's more valuable than your own peace? If you're living a life and you're just like constantly worrying about pleasing somebody else or not upsetting what's really more valuable than your personal peace, your health, and your well-being? I can't see anything. And some people might be, oh, you're being selfish. You're full of yourself. Who else am I going to be full of? Who
bingo.
else am I going to be full of? Thank
Yeah.
you.
It's so powerful once you're not afraid of other people's projections and reactions. We have a pandemic, and I'm not saying I've fully figured it out. I still do it, of fawning, which is a trauma response, aka people pleasing, aka being a yes man, because it keeps you safe theoretically, right? It's like, let me fawn to women. It's an easy one, right? Some people call it simping. Um, Fawn to business or money because I don't want that taken away. And even like little things like, hey, do you want to go out tonight? You're tired. You need sleep. Yeah, yeah, I'll go out. I don't want to be exiled by the tribe. It's like once you just learn to not give a fuck. I mean, that's kind of what it boils down to. And maybe I've erred too much on this side because I've had close people be like, dude, it's like kind of harsh. Because I literally am at this point. I'm also a manifester, as I know Mr. Kent is. Manifestors, like we have very few fucks to give when we're not aligned with something. So it's like I've learned very powerfully how to say no to any and everything that's not aligned. Because even if it's a maybe, classic phrase, if it's not a fuck yes, it's a fuck no. Because the middling energy, the half-mast energy, it's draining. Tons of men I've worked with, this is like their biggest breakthrough. Just this, whatever, all the other like crazy stuff we could get into, just that, business deals, negotiation, their marriage, their health, learning to say no powerfully and mean it and stick to their gut changes their entire life. And that is a lot of the work we do, which speaking of that, Mr. Anker, I'm wondering if you can toss these links in the chat or either of y'all, I can do it on my laptop here. I would like to discuss what we're doing because there's men, this is going to go up everywhere. Like YouTube will probably repost
I'm
some of
on
it.
it.
For people that are here live, we appreciate you. I saw several people down here. We got the Fox in here, Mr. Oscar. There's someone else earlier, but I know, whoever sees this meant to see it. You're a man and you're like, dude, I want to do this. You're a woman and you're like, I know men that probably could want to do this. We got 3 tiers of ways to get involved, right? You want to come hang out in the Longhouse with the brothers. We've got a community of over 100 men called the Commons, which you can just pop into. Okay, so we'll have that in the comments here. You can check that out. We have a exclusive membership group for men called the Village, which is incredible. And that is a circle community. We have our own app. We have our own community. We meet regularly. We do men's circles. We train together. We learn together. It's fucking epic. You're going to get a lot of benefits inside that. It's a smaller group. People have skin in the game. They're committed. We only have, one founder seat left. So once we have
One
13
founder
founders,
seat left.
yeah, we have 1 founder seat left. So you can join the first roundtable council of 13 or afterwards. And that is incredible. We just launched that recently. And then last but not least, we are running a retreat in Costa Rica in a little over a month. So end of April, first week of May, where these brothers are in the beautiful mountains of Chiripo, land of rivers, land of rainforest. And we're going deep, full blown wild masculine retreat. If you want more info on that, we're going to have it here. And, you know, if you're not following these two brothers, definitely give them a follow. Hit them up. You can obviously DM any of us. We'd love to answer any of your questions. And, you know, the biggest thing about this work is like we need as many men doing this as possible. I'm not in the business of like forming a masculine cult, although many have accused us of that. I'm not in the business of like, you know, just faffing about and being like a LARP, you know, live action role play men's worker. The only thing I'm interested in is like the world my children are going to live in, which is a world of powerful men. So ideally, every man we work with goes and starts their own version of what we're doing, and just it just keeps spreading. So, you know, like Avengers Endgame, when all the portals open up, I want all the men of the world who are doing this work to rally and sally forth to deal with, you know, frankly, the increasingly intense levels of fuckery in our modern world. Middle East war, racial tension, AI fuckery, you know, political fuckery. It's insane. The only thing that's going to bring order to it: men rallying, circling up, getting powerful; women rallying, circling up, getting powerful; men and women loving each other and creating villages. Done. That's it.
Yeah, let me add a little bit to that. First and foremost, there's a link in there. It's not a hyperlink, but you can copy and paste, and it takes you to the landing page for the fellowship, which helps you understand what we're about, shows you some options how you can join us, and there's also a button there to reach out to us if you want to schedule a call, talk about anything. Now, what's not on there yet is information about the immersion that we have coming up. Message either one of us. We've got the whole PDF, everything you can possibly learn about. But I want to speak a little bit more about like what we're offering here, right? If any of you are kind of tuned into the world of like ceremonies and retreats, especially out there in the West, you will be lucky if you get anything enduring, satisfying, and meaningful at a 3 to 4 day long weekend retreat. That's going to cost you anywhere from like $3,000 to $6,000. That is the going rate. I am tuned into this. We're offering twice as much value for twice as much time for half that, right? And if anyone listening, if anyone we talk to wants to be a part of this, we will do our best to make it happen without, you know, losing money. Like we're literally giving it away. And it's because this isn't really about money for us right now. Yeah, we got to take care of ourselves, but we want to build a community. We want to create a village. The village itself, the offering that we have on Circle, more premium, deeper work with the men, right now for the remaining founder seats, $47 a month. Like you get at least 3 deep dive calls with us doing men's circles, town halls to talk about what we're building, classes, and other stuff's gonna pop up. Like that is a steal. It's gonna go up, you know, like that's how things go with business. But we're wanting to make it clear that we're making this very accessible as possible. And it is our livelihood. You know, I think about how in time past, people like us who are offering such services, we wouldn't be exchanging this for money. It'd be donation and patronage to take care of us, but we're not quite there yet. We're hoping one day that will be the case. But for now, there's got to be some skin in the game. But I just want to make it really clear that we're making this approachable. We're making it accessible. This isn't about sharking y'all. Like, we want to have you here. If you want to be here, talk with one of us. We'll find some way to help you out. That's it.
Let's go.
Yeah, so much money in my past. I imagine the same is true in you guys' experience with college. Like I spent a ton of money, $60,000, for something that wasn't even actually what I wanted. And you just look at all of your different expenses. It's like, okay, the money's going to this. It's like, how about for you? What's for you? And
Mm.
the deepest work that you can actually do. What is that worth to you? When you look at the cost in that sense, it's for me when I reinvested in spiritual psychology and coaching and things that I was actually passionate about. I'm like, oh, this is actually overall far less, but it's actually something that I care about. And yeah, we're not living in a world where there's no currency exchange, but exactly what Kyle said, if money is a barrier, if somebody wants to do the work with me and they really want to do the work, we find a way to make it work. We find a way to make it work. And so, reach out to Kevin or Kyle or myself, and we're in the University of Life. And this is our mystery school. This is really the birth of our mystery school, and it's a mystery even to us. We know some of the things, the classes, the courses, the immersion, and we're discovering it along the way because we're doing it together. So let's have some fun, gentlemen.
Yeah. One last thing I want to say on that. If you went to university and you're still paying student loans like I am in that banking system of education where you're just being given a bunch of trivia to parrot and become a good employee and a good boy or girl to do someone else's job and achieve their false dream, if you spend 4 years with us, I guarantee you it'll cost a fraction of that in the end, and you will learn something useful. It is a mystery school. That's what we're doing. And we do it together, which is the way people actually learn by communicating with nature, spirit, divine, one another, not really knowing what we're doing, but we know enough about how we have walked this path and have frameworks to share what we've been experiencing. This is the true way human beings have learned from each other. And that's a guarantee.
Well said, man. So fucking true. So, yeah, it is what it is. For any of you that watch this live, we're so grateful for you. For those watching other places, you guys are awesome. Make sure you follow these gentlemen and hit that like button, share it, tag someone, tag a man you love. Whether you're a brother that's interested in this work, reach out to us, or you know a man that might be interested. We'd love to talk with them. Come sit with us around the fire, and let's make men great again. Let's go. Thank you, gentlemen. Legends.
Get wild. Peace, y'all. Thank you, bro.